Hello friends. What happens when Earth collides with fire? Not in a literal sense, but astrologically. When the grounded, ambitious Capricorn man meets the bold, fiery Aries woman, sparks fly, but are they the kind that ignite a passion, or burn everything down? Let's dive deep into the cosmic chemistry between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman, exploring how they interact in love, sex, marriage, friendship, and business. This isn't just about zodiac signs, it's about power dynamics, emotional language, and whether two people with such different blueprints can actually build something lasting together. Love compatibility. At its core, the romantic chemistry between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman is a paradox wrapped in possibility. They're wired so differently that, at first glance, it can seem almost impossible for them to click. One is ruled by Saturn, grounded, responsible, and constantly thinking 3 steps ahead. The other is ruled by Mars, fiery, impulsive, and hungry for the thrill of the present moment. But love, as we know, doesn't always care about logic. In fact, it's often in the tension between two wildly different energies where the most electric connections begin to form. The Capricorn man exudes quiet power. He's typically not the type to make a grand romantic gesture or declare his love in public. Instead, his affection is subtle, intentional, and deeply rooted in action. He's the guy who remembers the little things, who notices when you're stressed, and who'll take care of you without needing recognition. The Aries woman, by contrast, is bold and upfront about what she wants, and she usually wants it now. She's not shy about making the first move, taking the lead, or stirring the pot just to see what happens. In a way, Capricorn's emotional restraint becomes exactly what pulls her in. There's something intriguing about a man who doesn't immediately bow to her fire, who challenges her without saying a word. When they meet, the attraction is often laced with curiosity. Aries is fascinated by Capricorn's stoicism. Why is he so calm? Why doesn't he react? Why doesn't he chase? These questions drive her wild. She's used to people responding instantly to her energy, but here's someone who doesn't flinch. Meanwhile, Capricorn is equally intrigued, though in his case, he's trying to assess whether this chaotic burst of passion in front of him is a liability or the kind of force that could change his world. Spoiler, it's usually both. Over time, as the connection deepens, they begin to move past fascination and into the tricky terrain of emotional compatibility. This is where real work begins. Capricorn needs structure in love. He wants to build something tangible, a home, a legacy, a partnership that stands the test of time. Aries, however, thrives on spontaneity. She doesn't like to sit still for too long. She's a creator of moments, not necessarily a planner of futures. This contrast means they often speak different emotional languages. He shows love by providing and protecting. She shows love by expressing, reacting, and acting on impulse. Misunderstandings can arise not from a lack of affection, but from how differently that affection is expressed. In moments of conflict, Aries may accuse Capricorn of being emotionally unavailable or too rigid. She wants passion, emotional presence, and intensity. Capricorn, on the other hand, might feel overwhelmed by her emotional volatility, craving more stability and peace. He could interpret her fiery expressions as irrational or immature, while she may see his calm demeanor as cold or indifferent. The truth lies somewhere in between. They're not wrong about each other, they just haven't learned to translate the other's emotional dialect. For this relationship to truly blossom, both partners must evolve. Aries has to learn to appreciate the quiet depth of Capricorn's love. His loyalty, once earned, is unshakable. He's the one who shows up at 2 a.m. when you need help, the one who remembers anniversaries not because he's romantic, but because he values what you've built together. Capricorn, meanwhile, needs to get out of his own head and into his heart. He needs to understand that love isn't a business deal, it's messy, emotional, irrational, and sometimes gloriously chaotic. And that's okay. In fact, that's beautiful. When the balance is found, something magical happens. Aries, under Capricorn's influence, becomes more patient. She learns the value of consistency and long-term thinking. She begins to channel her passion in ways that are not just exciting, but constructive. Capricorn, in turn, learns to let go a little. He laughs more, takes more risks, and stops thinking of life as a mountain he must climb alone. They become not just lovers, but each other's personal revolution. This is not the kind of love story that's easy. It's not a soft romance filled with dreamy stares and poetic love notes. It's gritty. It's growth-oriented. It's the type of relationship that demands effort, but rewards it tenfold. There will be arguments. There will be power struggles. But there will also be moments of profound transformation, where both partners realize they are stronger, wiser, and more whole because of each other. In the long run, the Capricorn man and Aries woman can build a love that's equal parts fire and stone. He gives her roots, she gives him wings. Together, they create a partnership that is both grounded in reality and capable of setting the world on fire. Not despite their differences, but because of them. Sexual compatibility. The bedroom dynamic between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman is a thrilling paradox, equal parts friction and fascination. It's not just about physical chemistry, though there's plenty of that. It's about tempo, intention, and the emotional undertones that shape their every touch. At first glance, their sexual styles seem out of sync. He's slow and deliberate, she's fast and fiery. But what could easily become a mismatch is, in reality, a golden opportunity for mutual transformation, if they're willing to meet each other halfway. Let's start with the Capricorn man. In his daily life, he's controlled, composed, maybe even a little aloof. But that external restraint hides a deeply sensual nature. This is a man who takes intimacy seriously, who believes that sex isn't just a pleasure, but a craft. He's not one for casual flings or chaotic passion. Instead, he wants depth. He wants to connect. He wants to know his partner, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. For Capricorn, great sex is built over time, with trust, consistency, and a sense of earned vulnerability. He studies his lover like a subject, aiming to master their responses with an almost strategic level of focus. His touch is steady, intentional, and deeply satisfying, once you get past the layers of reserve. Then comes Aries. A force of nature. She doesn't wait for permission, she acts on desire the moment it sparks. Her approach to sex is raw, instinctive, and electric. Where Capricorn calculates, Aries reacts. Where he holds back, she charges forward. She's not afraid to take the lead, push boundaries, or demand what she wants. For Aries, sex is energy, a celebration of life, a release of tension, and a thrilling expression of personal power. She doesn't want slow build-up if it means sacrificing intensity. She wants fire, she wants friction, she wants now. So how do these two wildly different energies merge? The secret lies in the art of tension. Aries is like a match, Capricorn is like dry wood. Alone, each is powerful in their own right. But together, they create a fire that's as controlled as it is intense. Aries brings urgency to the moment, encouraging Capricorn to let go of the need to be perfect and just feel. Capricorn, in turn, teaches Aries that pleasure can be stretched, deepened, and intensified when it's given time to unfold. Their physical connection becomes a dance of contrast, her urgency tempered by his patience, his discipline ignited by her spontaneity. But it's not all smooth. There can be clashes. Aries may feel frustrated by Capricorn's reluctance to act on impulse. She might interpret his slow pace as disinterest. Capricorn, meanwhile, may see Aries as too aggressive, too reactive, or even emotionally disconnected from the deeper meaning he seeks in intimacy. For this pairing, communication is key. Capricorn must learn to vocalize his desires, to reassure Aries that beneath his still waters runs a current of desire. Aries, on the other hand, needs to recognize that not every spark must lead to an explosion. Sometimes, letting things simmer makes the eventual ignition even more satisfying. When trust is built, and make no mistake, Capricorn requires trust, a whole new level of intimacy becomes possible. Capricorn opens up, shedding his emotional armor, revealing a lover who is not only attentive but profoundly present. Aries, in turn, learns that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a gateway to even greater connection. She begins to see that her fire doesn't have to be constant to be powerful. In fact, it becomes even more potent when given the space to breathe. This evolution leads to a sex life that's rich in contrast and complexity. One night might be fast, wild, and impulsive, driven by Aries' uncontainable hunger. The next could be slow, sacred, and deeply emotional, led by Capricorn's quiet mastery. There's variety, there's balance, and most importantly, there's growth. Each encounter is a lesson. Each moment together peels back another layer. What truly sets this pair apart is their potential to transform one another through physical connection. Aries teaches Capricorn to act from instinct, to let desire lead. Capricorn shows Aries how depth enhances ecstasy, that there's power not just in the spark, but in the embers that follow. Their sexual relationship becomes not just about gratification, but evolution. It becomes a space where control and surrender coexist, where dominance and trust are exchanged fluidly, and where each person feels both challenged and cherished. In the long run, the success of their sexual compatibility depends on mutual respect. Aries must respect Capricorn's need for emotional safety, while Capricorn must respect Aries' need for freedom and fire. If both are willing to grow, if both are willing to let go of their natural preferences just enough to meet the other's needs, they'll find a rhythm that's not only satisfying but transformative. This isn't casual chemistry. This is alchemy. Two elements, earth and fire, that shouldn't mix, and yet, when they do, something ancient and beautiful happens. The Capricorn man and Aries woman may not be an obvious sexual match, but when it works, it really works. Think of it like slow-burning dynamite, stable on the outside, but explosive once ignited. Marriage compatibility. A marriage between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman is anything but ordinary. It's not the kind of union that floats effortlessly on shared dreams and soft smiles. No, this is a storm meets mountain situation, where emotional weather patterns collide with immovable structure. But from that collision, something uniquely durable and dynamic can emerge. When they decide to commit, they aren't just agreeing to a partnership, they're stepping into a lifelong balancing act between freedom and stability, impulse and planning, fire and stone. The Capricorn man sees marriage as a cornerstone of his life plan. He doesn't take vows lightly. He views commitment through a practical, sometimes even traditional, lens. To him, a spouse is a life partner, a teammate, and someone with whom he can build financial security, a legacy, a home. He is likely to approach marriage with meticulous preparation. He wants a 5-year plan, a 10-year vision, and clear definitions of roles and expectations. That's how he feels safe. That's how he shows love. Enter the Aries woman, who approaches marriage with a completely different spirit. She's passionate, bold, and craves authenticity over structure. She won't be boxed in or managed, least of all by a husband. She says yes to marriage not because she wants stability, but because she wants adventure with someone. She wants a partner who respects her independence, who keeps life interesting, and who supports her in becoming everything she dreams of, without asking her to shrink. So what happens when a man who builds walls marries a woman who burns them down? It depends on whether they see those walls as protection, or prison. In the early years of marriage, their differences can be thrilling. Capricorn may feel invigorated by Aries' spontaneity and courage. Her wild ideas shake him out of his routine. He finds her unpredictability magnetic, even if it makes him nervous. Meanwhile, Aries is drawn to Capricorn's dependability. His grounded energy offers her a rare sense of safety, not the kind that cages her, but the kind that says, "You can leap, and I'll catch you." This interplay can lead to deep emotional security, if handled with care. But eventually, the friction sets in. Capricorn's structured life can feel like a slow suffocation to Aries. His routines, while comforting to him, may feel monotonous or overly rigid to her. His constant planning and concern for long-term outcomes can make her feel like the present moment is never good enough. She may start to rebel, spending impulsively, taking unplanned trips, or chasing projects he sees as impractical. And Capricorn, in turn, may start to withdraw. He may feel she's reckless, unreliable, or unwilling to grow up. The danger is when both partners dig in their heels instead of stepping closer. The key to navigating these turbulent waters is vision. Capricorn and Aries must align on the big picture. They don't have to agree on every detail, but they must believe in the same future. If they can settle on shared values, whether that's building a family, creating financial independence, or supporting each other's careers, they can survive the bumps in the road. These common goals become their anchor, especially when their personalities naturally pull them in different directions. Communication is absolutely critical in this marriage. Capricorn must learn to express emotion, not just provide for it. Aries needs words, not just actions. She needs to feel heard and emotionally supported, not just offered practical solutions. On the flip side, Aries must learn the value of restraint. That not every frustration needs an immediate reaction. That sometimes, the best way to love someone is to pause, listen, and breathe. Power dynamics also play a role here. Capricorn is used to leading, quietly but firmly. Aries is used to being the leader, loudly and without apology. This can create sparks and not always the sexy kind. If they treat marriage like a power struggle, it won't last. But if they see each other as co-leaders, equally capable but differently gifted, their combined strength becomes unstoppable. It's also worth noting that this is a marriage that thrives on growth. Aries keeps Capricorn young. She challenges his limits and reminds him not to take life, or himself, too seriously. Capricorn, in turn, teaches Aries about endurance. About how to commit to something even when it stops being exciting. About how love, in its truest form, is a choice you make every day, not just a feeling you chase when the mood is right. When things are good between them, this marriage is magnetic. Their chemistry doesn't fade, it matures. They may not be the couple who posts endless romantic selfies, but they're the couple who builds a life together that means something. A real home. A real connection. A real legacy. One that blends the Aries woman's fearless spirit with the Capricorn man's timeless strength. But for it to work, both must surrender something. Capricorn must surrender control. He has to accept that love can't always be managed, calculated, or predicted. He must learn that sometimes, the most meaningful experiences are the ones you didn't plan. Aries, in turn, must surrender a bit of her independence, not by giving it up, but by realizing that partnership doesn't diminish her power. It magnifies it. This is not a marriage built on ease. It's built on effort. On learning. On choosing each other again and again, even when it's hard. But in that challenge lies the reward, a union that is not only lasting, but transformative. Because when Capricorn and Aries commit, not just to each other, but to growth, they create something few couples ever touch, a marriage that is both secure and wild, both stable and alive. A true partnership of the soul and the will. And that's worth everything. Friendship compatibility. A friendship between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman is anything but average, it's dynamic, challenging, and oddly magnetic. These two aren't your usual best buds who fall into sync effortlessly. Their connection is often forged in contrast, sharpened by difference, and deepened through a shared respect for each other's grit. At times, it might feel more like a mentorship or even a rivalry than a friendship, but when they choose to stand side by side instead of pulling in opposite directions, their bond can become one of the strongest and most rewarding of their lives. The Aries woman is fast-moving and full of fire. She's the type of friend who texts last minute about a spontaneous road trip, challenges you to try something you've never done, and doesn't hesitate to call you out when you're not living up to your potential. She brings boldness and brightness to every interaction. Her energy is contagious, and people often find themselves swept up in her whirlwind of enthusiasm and ambition. But she also needs stimulation. If a friendship gets dull, slow, or overly introspective, she's likely to drift. The Capricorn man is a different beast entirely. He's slow to engage, cautious with his time and trust, and more interested in quality than quantity when it comes to relationships. While Aries is busy making 10 new friends a month, Capricorn is quietly observing from the back, picking up on everything and saying very little. But that doesn't mean he's antisocial. Once he lets someone in, he's fiercely loyal, stable, grounded, and always there when it counts. His friendships aren't built on momentary excitement, but on shared values and proven character. At first, their friendship might seem unlikely. Aries could find Capricorn overly serious, judgmental, or downright boring. She might poke fun at his routines or call him out for always playing it safe. Capricorn, in turn, might see Aries as chaotic, self-centered, or lacking discipline. Her impulsive decisions and constant need for action could grate on his nerves. But beneath these surface frustrations lies a deeper intrigue. Aries is fascinated by Capricorn's calm, his self-control, his quiet confidence. Capricorn is drawn to Aries' vitality, her courage, and her refusal to back down from anything. It's a friendship that starts with friction, but that friction can spark a fire. If they're able to move past their initial judgments, the friendship has enormous potential. Aries helps pull Capricorn out of his shell. She pushes him to try new things, to take risks, to live a little. With her, life is never stuck on repeat. She injects spontaneity into his world and helps him loosen his grip on perfectionism. In return, Capricorn grounds her. He offers perspective when she's caught in the heat of the moment. He helps her slow down, think things through, and channel her boundless energy toward goals that actually matter. He may not say it often, but he admires her spirit, and wants to protect it. However, this friendship does require careful handling. Aries, with her competitive streak, might unconsciously try to dominate the relationship. Capricorn, with his need for respect and structure, won't respond well to that. He's not interested in being steamrolled, even by someone he cares about. If Aries tries to lead too forcefully, Capricorn will quietly distance himself. On the flip side, Capricorn's natural tendency to criticize or offer constructive feedback can hurt Aries if it's delivered without warmth. She may interpret it as disapproval or condescension, even if it comes from a place of care. Mutual respect is non-negotiable. Aries must learn that Capricorn's silence isn't disinterest, it's thoughtfulness. Capricorn must understand that Aries' loudness isn't immaturity, it's passion. They need to give each other space to be exactly who they are, without judgment or pressure to conform. When that happens, something rare takes shape, a friendship where both people grow. Another important aspect of their friendship is loyalty. Capricorn values consistency and won't stick around in shallow, one-sided relationships. Aries, despite her flightiness in other areas, is surprisingly loyal to those who earn her trust. Once she sees that Capricorn isn't just a rigid killjoy, but someone who has her back no matter what, her respect deepens. And Capricorn, seeing that Aries isn't just a firecracker but someone who would fight for her friends with everything she has, softens toward her impulsiveness. They may not always say how much they care, but it's there, in the way they show up. Of course, don't expect endless heart-to-hearts or constant deep talks. That's just not their style. Capricorn isn't quick to share his innermost thoughts, and Aries doesn't like to dwell in emotional heavy lifting unless she really has to. But their connection doesn't depend on constant vulnerability. It's built on action, on showing up, being there, and bringing out each other's strengths in subtle but significant ways. This is a friendship where both people sharpen each other. Aries keeps Capricorn from getting stuck in his own seriousness. Capricorn keeps Aries from burning herself out in her constant quest for excitement. Together, they form a balance of fire and earth, an unlikely but powerful combination. It's not the easiest friendship, but it's the kind that changes people for the better. In the end, the Aries woman and Capricorn man make excellent friends, if they're willing to grow. If they allow space for their differences, challenge each other with kindness, and recognize that they're stronger together than apart, this connection can last a lifetime. It's a bond built not on ease, but on evolution. And sometimes, that's the most meaningful friendship of all. Business compatibility. In the professional world, few duos have the potential to create long-term impact like a Capricorn man and an Aries woman. Their styles may differ, but when aligned toward a common goal, they become a powerhouse blend of visionary energy and calculated execution. This isn't just a case of, you do your thing, I'll do mine. It's a rare synergy between the fire of fearless ambition and the discipline of strategic planning. Together, they don't just chase success, they engineer it. The Capricorn man enters any business endeavor with a blueprint in hand. He's all about structure, scalability, and sustainability. Where others might get distracted by flashy opportunities or momentary trends, he stays focused on long-term growth. His strengths lie in managing resources, optimizing processes, and turning chaos into order. He has the patience to build slowly and the tenacity to weather storms. He's the kind of leader who thinks 3 quarters ahead, keeps risk low, and prioritizes consistency over clout. Meanwhile, the Aries woman bursts into the room like a lightning bolt. She's bold, assertive, and thrives on momentum. She doesn't just think outside the box, she sets fire to the box and reinvents the entire system. In business, Aries is all about the start. She's the initiator, the trailblazer, the spark that turns nothing into something. Her instincts are razor sharp, and she's not afraid to take bold leaps, whether it's pitching a wild new product, shifting strategy mid-launch, or leading from the front in times of crisis. Her confidence is contagious, and her drive can elevate any room she walks into. When these two come together professionally, their potential is enormous. Aries has the ideas. Capricorn has the infrastructure. She generates momentum, he converts it into lasting value. She thrives on fast action, he thrives on thoughtful execution. It's not hard to imagine them co-founding a company where she handles branding, vision, and initial outreach, while he manages operations, investor relations, and logistics. She's the storm. He's the fortress. Together, they create both impact and endurance. But make no mistake, it's not always a smooth ride. Aries, with her high-speed decision-making, can grow frustrated with Capricorn's slower, more deliberate pace. She wants to act now, pivot quickly, and see instant results. Capricorn, on the other hand, can see Aries' impulsiveness as reckless, or worse, immature. He wants every risk calculated, every move measured. If Aries doesn't understand his need for due diligence, and if Capricorn doesn't respect her ability to move instinctively, tension will rise. The good news? These clashes can actually be productive, if both sides check their ego. Conflict between them often arises from mutual competence, not incompetence. Each believes they know the best path forward, and they're often both right, from different angles. The trick is understanding when to push and when to yield. Aries should trust Capricorn's instinct when it comes to long-term strategy and risk management. Capricorn should trust Aries' gut when the market calls for boldness, speed, or disruption. Clearly defined roles are critical. When these two are trying to share the same domain, especially if it's leadership, they'll clash. But if they divide and conquer, there's no stopping them. Aries should be the front-facing energy of the business, the innovator, the motivator, the brand voice. Capricorn should be the backbone, the system builder, the deal closer, the execution expert. When they stay in their lanes, magic happens. When they overlap without clarity, chaos ensues. It's also important to note that this partnership demands mutual respect. Capricorn must avoid the temptation to parent Aries or treat her passion as naivety. Aries, in turn, must recognize that Capricorn's restraint is not fear, it's wisdom. His slow pace isn't a lack of ambition, but a refusal to fail through carelessness. He's not trying to hold her back, he's trying to build something that doesn't burn out. Over time, their partnership evolves into something deeply complementary. Aries inspires Capricorn to take calculated risks he might otherwise avoid. She infuses excitement into his methodical world and challenges him to think bigger, move faster, and lead with heart as well as logic. Capricorn gives Aries the grounding she secretly craves. He's the steady hand when she starts to spin, the voice of reason when her fire risks becoming a blaze. In difficult times, tight deadlines, product failures, market shifts, they are especially strong. Aries rises to the challenge with courage, and Capricorn finds solutions under pressure with clarity. Where other partnerships fracture under stress, these two tend to become more aligned. Their core differences become assets. Aries brings urgency, Capricorn brings control. Together, they pivot, adapt, and rebuild. Ultimately, a business relationship between a Capricorn man and an Aries woman can be the kind that changes industries. They have what so many partnerships lack: balance. Aries brings the spark, Capricorn brings the structure to keep it burning. They don't just start strong, they finish strong. But to reach that level, they must stay conscious of their differences, communicate openly, and embrace the very traits that sometimes frustrate them most. If they do, they'll build more than a company. They'll build a legacy. A perfect blend of vision and execution. Fire and foundation. The dreamer and the architect. That's business chemistry at its finest. Final thoughts. So, are Capricorn men and Aries women truly compatible? The honest answer is layered. It depends less on surface-level astrology and more on maturity, self-awareness, and a willingness to do the work. This pairing is not the romantic version of a fairy tale. There's no instant harmony, no predictable ease. What there is, however, is an undeniable potential for greatness, if both people are willing to lean into discomfort, stretch their limits, and meet in the messy middle. Capricorn and Aries are both cardinal signs, meaning they are initiators, leaders in their own right. But how they lead couldn't be more different. Capricorn leads through strategy, discipline, and long-term commitment. Aries leads through courage, instinct, and bold momentum. One is the marathon runner, the other is the sprinter. One builds empires brick by brick, the other charges in and claims the land. Naturally, this difference in tempo and temperament creates friction. But friction, as we know, is what sharpens, refines, and sometimes ignites something beautiful. The real question is, can they value what they don't understand? Can the Capricorn man respect the Aries woman's fiery independence and impulsive drive, even if it disrupts his carefully laid plans? Can the Aries woman appreciate the Capricorn man's stoic patience and methodical nature, even when it slows her down? If the answer is yes, then what starts as a clash of opposites can evolve into a dynamic balance of forces. This match demands a higher level of emotional intelligence from both partners. Aries must learn to stay, even when things get hard, and to realize that depth takes time. Capricorn must learn to express, to allow vulnerability, and to accept that not everything can be perfectly controlled. Love, sex, marriage, friendship, business, all these areas require compromise, communication, and a shared vision. There are no shortcuts here. But the payoff? It's massive. When it works in a way that's hard to explain to anyone else. Because this isn't a relationship that looks effortless, it looks earned. It's the kind of bond that's been through the fire and came out stronger. The kind of love that reshapes you in all the right ways. where Capricorn learns how to live in the moment, and Aries learns how to plan for the future. Where both become more than they were alone. If you're a Capricorn man thinking about committing to an Aries woman, or an Aries woman drawn to the still waters of a Capricorn man, consider this: it won't be smooth, but it could be spectacular. You're signing up for passion, conflict, growth, and the kind of connection that doesn't just happen, it's built. Together, you might not be the couple who everyone understands, but you'll be the one they remember. So, is it worth it? Only if you're ready for a relationship that challenges you to rise. One that demands your best self, and gives you someone strong enough to match it. If you're both all in, if you can honor each other's power without needing to tame it, then what you create won't just last, it will evolve, inspire, and endure. Because Capricorn and Aries may be made of different elements, but when they decide to build something together, they don't just make it work. They make it legendary. Like what you heard? Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and explore more cosmic matchups right here. And hey, check the description for bonus links, astrology playlists, and even birth chart breakdowns. Your stars are waiting. Let's explore them together.